It is coming at a cost, and the deficit as a percent of GDP this year is projected to be almost 6%, double what was initially expected in a time where we have good growth and full employment. Shouldn't it be going the other way?
Well, we have to make sure that we do keep deficits under control going out. The statistic or metric that I look at most often to judge our fiscal course is net interest as a share of GDP. And even with the rise we have seen in interest rates, that remains at a very reasonable level of around 1%. But we do need to be careful about what we do going forward in order to make sure we stay on a sustainable course.
But the impact of some of those bills that you were talking about, don't they really start to hit into next year? And couldn't that keep inflation sticky and potentially cause some concerns in the bond market about issuance to pay for all of it?
Well, I'm not really seeing concerns in the bond market about issuance. Obviously, the Fed has tightened monetary policy, and that's pushed rates up. But there are pay-fors in the legislation that funded all of these programs, and so I'm not really concerned about the impact that they'll have. Certainly, greater deficit reduction is possible. The president has proposed a series of measures that would reduce our deficits over time while investing in the economy. And, this is something we need to do going forward.
I do want to ask you about your trip this week and your top priorities and messages for world leaders at a time where, if you look at the global economy, you mentioned China's weaker than expected. Europe is also showing some more weakness. Germany going negative in growth. What are you saying to them?
Well, we are focused this week on measures to address issues in the global economy and to achieve stronger and sustainable growth. Russia's continuing brutal war in Ukraine is having a very adverse impact, and we're spending time this week discussing food prices and what we can do to alleviate hunger and shortages of food, especially since the Black Sea Grain Initiative, Russia has ended that. We're focused on climate change and the adverse impact that's having on developing countries, on emerging markets. It interacts with scarcity of food, and we're focused on greatly expanding the amount of aid and private investment that we can channel into emerging markets in developing countries around the world. We have an initiative to enable the World Bank and the other multilateral development banks to greatly expand their provision of resources and to mobilize private capital for climate change. We're focused on health, preventing future pandemics, and mobilizing funds, both public and private, through the President's Partnership for Global Investment with the G7 to boost infrastructure development in a meaningful way, infrastructure investment around the world. So these are some of the main focuses this week.